What would you do if your own voice begged you not to make a mistake you hadn't made yet? I've asked myself that question every day since the voicemail arrived. The worst part is, I still don't know what the mistake was. Or maybe I do. Maybe I knew the second I listened to it. The voicemail came through late at night while I was half asleep on the couch. I remember the glow of the television flickering across the room without sound because I'd muted it hours earlier. Rain tapped softly against the windows. My phone buzzed once on the coffee table, vibrating hard enough to make an empty glass tremble. Unknown number. I ignored it. A few seconds later, the voicemail notification appeared. That wasn't unusual. Spam calls left empty voicemails all the time. I almost deleted it without listening. Then I noticed the timestamp. Received 2 hours, 14 minutes from now. I stared at it for a long time. At first I thought I was just tired. Maybe I'd read it wrong. Maybe the phone had glitched. But the timestamp didn't change. 2 hours, 14 minutes from now. I actually laughed a little. Nervous laughter. The kind people use when something feels wrong, but not wrong enough yet. Then I pressed play. Static crackled softly through the speaker. Then breathing, fast breathing, and then my voice. "Don't do it," the recording whispered. The sound of my own voice hit me like cold water. Every little detail was perfect. The slight rasp in my throat. The way I drag certain words when I'm exhausted. It was unmistakably me. "It cannot be undone," my voice continued shakily, "and you will never live to fix your mistake." Then the recording ended, just like that. I replayed it immediately, then again, and again. Each time it sounded worse, more frightened, like whoever recorded it had been trying not to panic. I checked the number. No caller ID, no saved contact, nothing. Then I checked the timestamp again, still from the future. My first instinct was to explain it away. Some weird software bug. Maybe someone used AI to mimic my voice. That seemed more reasonable than the alternative. But even then, something about the voicemail bothered me in a way I couldn't explain. It wasn't just hearing my own voice. It was the emotion behind it. I have heard myself scared before. Everyone has. But this was different. This sounded like someone moments away from dying. I barely slept that night. I kept checking the clock every few minutes because the timestamp was counting down toward the present. 2 hours became 1 hour. 1 hour became 40 minutes. Then 20. Every second made my stomach tighten harder. Because if the voicemail really came from the near future, then somewhere ahead of me, something terrible was waiting. And apparently, I caused it. I kept trying to figure out what "don't do it" meant. Don't do what? Leave the apartment? Answer a call? Open a door? There were suddenly 1,000 dangerous possibilities in every tiny decision. By the time the countdown reached 15 minutes, I was pacing circles around my living room. I considered turning my phone off. I considered leaving it behind and driving somewhere far away. Instead, I sat frozen on the couch, watching the minutes disappear. 10 minutes, 9, 8. My hands were shaking so badly, I could barely hold the phone. Then another notification appeared. One new voicemail. Timestamp, 7 minutes from now. My chest tightened. I stared at the screen for nearly a full minute before pressing play. This recording was worse, much worse. I heard myself breathing hard, like I was running. There was another sound, too. Metallic scraping somewhere nearby. "My God," my voice whispered frantically. "If you get this in time, just stay where you are." A loud bang echoed in the background. I nearly dropped the phone. "Don't answer the door," my voice said. Then the message cut off sharply. A second later, somebody knocked on my apartment door. 3 slow knocks. Every hair on my arm stood up instantly. I didn't move. Another knock. Then silence. I remember staring at the door while my pulse hammered so hard it hurt. Nobody should have been there that late. I told myself not to panic. Maybe it was a neighbor. Maybe somebody had the wrong apartment. Then my phone buzzed again. Another voicemail. Timestamp. 3 minutes from now. I didn't want to listen. Part of me already knew I shouldn't. But fear and curiosity are twins. Once one enters the room, the other follows close behind. I pressed play. This time, the recording started with screaming. Not loud screaming, muffled screaming, like my hand was clamped over my own mouth. The scraping noise was louder now, closer. Then my voice spoke again, barely audible. "It sees you when you listen." A sudden crash interrupted the recording. Then silence. Then one final whisper. "You already let it in." The message ended. At that exact moment, the knocking returned. Much harder this time. Bang, bang, bang. The entire door shook in its frame. I stumbled backward off the couch. Every instinct screamed at me not to answer it. The pounding stopped. Then slowly, the doorknob began to turn. I remember backing into the kitchen so fast I knocked over a chair. The knob twisted halfway before stopping. Silence filled the apartment again. I couldn't hear breathing outside, couldn't hear footsteps. Nothing, just silence. Then my phone rang. Not a voicemail, an incoming call from my own number. I stared at it in disbelief while it vibrated in my hand. I should have ignored it. Instead, I answered. For a moment, neither side spoke. Then I heard myself breathing on the other end. Not present me, future me. "You listen to them," the voice whispered. My throat tightened. "Who is this?" "You have to leave now." Another metallic scraping sound echoed through the phone, closer than before. "What is happening?" I asked. "You weren't supposed to hear the first message," my voice said quickly. It noticed when the connection opened. Something slammed loudly on the other end of the call. Future me gasped sharply. "It follows awareness," he whispered. The words made no sense, but the terror in my own voice felt real enough to freeze my blood. "What follows awareness?" There was a long pause. Then my voice answered with a trembling whisper. "The thing standing outside your door." Every light in my apartment flickered, not quickly, slowly, like the electricity itself was struggling to breathe. And then, from the hallway outside, scrape, a long metallic dragging sound. I felt my entire body lock up. Scrape, closer now, moving toward the apartment. "I tried warning you earlier," future me said frantically, "but every message lets it get closer." I backed deeper into the kitchen, unable to take my eyes off the front door. "What is it?" I whispered. Another pause. Then, "I don't know." The scraping stopped directly outside. The doorknob slowly turned again. Future me began breathing harder. "If it gets inside," he whispered, "don't let it speak to you." "What?" "Don't answer it if it talks." The hallway light outside my apartment suddenly went dark. A second later, something tapped softly against the other side of the door. Tap, 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 not knocking. Fingernails. Then came a voice. My voice. "Might want to open the door." The phone nearly slipped from my hand. The thing outside sounded exactly like me. Same tone, same cadence, same everything. But something underneath the voice felt wrong, like multiple people speaking in perfect sync. Future me started crying softly on the phone. "You have to run." The thing outside laughed quietly, again, with my voice. "You already know it's too late." I bolted toward the bedroom without thinking and slammed the door behind me. The apartment immediately fell silent. No scraping, no tapping, nothing. I crouched beside the bed, clutching my phone while future me whispered desperately through the speaker. "It learns faster every time." "What does that mean?" I hissed. "It uses us," he whispered. "That's how it spreads." A loud creak sounded from somewhere inside the apartment. Not outside, inside. My stomach dropped. Another creak. Slow footsteps crossed the living room floor. I realized instantly what had happened. The front door had never opened. Whatever was inside now had already been there. I heard the bedroom doorknob rattle softly. Future me inhaled sharply. "Listen carefully," he whispered. "In a minute, you're going to see something that looks exactly like you." The doorknob twisted slowly. "You cannot speak to it." The door opened a few inches. Darkness filled the crack. Then, my own voice came softly through the gap. "Please let me in." I couldn't breathe. "It knows what you'll trust," future me whispered urgently. "That's why it copies us." The door creaked wider, and standing in the hallway was me. Not almost me, exactly me. Same clothes, same face, same terrified expression, except the smile. The smile was too wide, stretching impossibly far across its face. "Please," it said softly, "you have to help me." I backed against the wall, shaking uncontrollably. Future me started shouting through the phone. "Don't listen to it!" The thing in the doorway twitched suddenly. Its smile widened further. Then every light in the apartment went out at once. Complete darkness swallowed the room. The call disconnected. For several seconds, I heard nothing except my own breathing. Then, directly beside me in the dark, my own voice whispered, "You should have deleted the voicemail." Everything after that becomes blurry. I remember running. I remember falling down a stairwell. I remember waking up outside sometime before dawn with my phone still clutched in my hand. The apartment building behind me looked completely normal. No police, no broken windows, nothing. Part of me almost convinced myself I imagined everything. Then my phone buzzed. One final voicemail notification. Timestamp, 12 minutes from now. I stared at it while the sun slowly rose. I never listened to that last message. I still haven't. But every few days the timestamp changes. It keeps getting closer. And tonight, for the first time, it says, "Received, 11 minutes from now." If you enjoyed tonight's story, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. And if you have a creepy story of your own that you'd like featured on Talesthyme, send it to talesthyme@gmail.com. Your story could be next.